Welcome. Good morning.
It is November 20th and of 2022, and our conversation this morning is about having gratitude for the present, for the present moment. Last week we talked about having gratitude for our past, and so today we're in the present. We're going to be focusing on Thanksgiving, which is in a few days, our Thanksgiving feast and holiday.
Next week we're going to talk about future gratitude, and then, all right, we're not.
So I'm going to begin with an opening affirmative prayer. You're welcome to join me in consciousness as we give thanks, first of all, for knowing that each of us is a spiritual being, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. We give thanks for knowing that we are connected to all that is, that we are part of the divine, that the divine creator of all life is everywhere present, including in us. And so we give thanks for that knowledge. We give thanks for knowing that we can use the principle of affirmative thinking and affirmative prayer so that we may manifest a life that is more joyous, more complete, more miraculous than we would have ever had we not learned this teaching called The Science of Mind and hosted by our Centers for Spiritual Living. So we give thanks for our loved ones, we give thanks for our nourishment, we give thanks for the abundance that is ours, and we give thanks for being here this moment with loved ones and friends. And so it is, and together we say,
And so
so
it
be
is.
it.
So it is.
I love it.
So it
I love
is.
it.
Okay.
I got excited about the talk this week because I tend to think abstractly and in metaphor. Sometimes that can be a problem,
Mostly it's fun.
but generally
Occasionally.
it's fun. Yeah. And I was thinking about Thanksgiving, and when Judith and I were talking about what will we talk about, the first thing that came to mind is what is your recipe, your spiritual recipe, and what will you serve? And I thought, well, that's really interesting. And I got to thinking more. And my train of thought went like this, and I'm just going to share it with you, and you can make of it what you will. I'd like you to imagine that all the good that you've done, and all the good that you're going to do, all the things that have value for you in your life that make you special, and those exciting moments, you're in a grocery store, and they're all on the shelves. And so the nice thing that you said to somebody is on the shelf. The getting together with people is on the shelf. The kindness that you feel is on one of the shelves. And the tendency for us is to walk through the supermarket in search of one thing and miss all the other things that are there. And Thanksgiving, really, for me, is it's a IKEA of good. And when I say that, what happens is you get all these different things that by themselves don't seem to have a lot of value or necessarily any meaning at all. And you put them together and you have a feast, an incredible feast, and you serve. And so what I was thinking was, interestingly, I don't know when the last time was I ever had nutmeg, except in
Eggnog.
eggnog. I mean, so somehow eggnog, I think the purpose
Of eggnog.
of nutmeg is for
Oh,
eggnog, and vice versa. They
yeah.
relate to one another. But I could walk by that counter 1,000 times and never see it until all of a sudden I need it. So part of what I'm getting at is we need to pretend that life is a smorgasbord of events that have value, that are important, and we need to share them. You see, the big thing about Thanksgiving is it isn't just getting all of our good together and then mixing it all up and serving it. It's then sharing it and having somebody to share it with. And Judith brought up, and I love it, it's one of the best examples of it, Dances with Wolves, in the movie Dances with Wolves. Kevin Costner has been on a hunt, the first hunt, the buffalo hunt. And after the hunt, they sit in a tent, and all of them.
And they all survived and were
Oh, yeah,
successful
right.
in getting
It
meat
was a
and,
good
and
hunt.
stuff for their tribe.
Right, so they're all sitting around a circle, and
Yeah, they
and
lived.
and it's like the fifth time, and the chief says, "Tell them again, tell them the story again," and every time they tell the story, it comes alive again, and so Thanksgiving is a chance to
And
tell.
they laugh and they
Oh
relive
yeah,
it.
and he says, "I want to go to bed." Oh no, 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 no! You can't go to bed yet. You got to tell it one more time. And okay, so he tells it one more time, and they laugh all over again, and they love it. And I thought this is a perfect Thanksgiving meal. This is a perfect Thanksgiving event. But part of what makes it so is that we take our good, we take our joy, we take our experiences, and we share them, and that holds makes them stay with us in a different way, and has us see ourselves through a different lens. So the question in my mind today is, what will you serve from your heart? What will you serve from your soul? And how will you serve that as we come up on Thanksgiving?
And we were coming up with other metaphors like, what do you relish for? What do you relish for Thanksgiving?
No, that's a double entendre.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
I relish the cranberry relish
Yeah.
that I make. I like it with orange and pecans, and just becomes delicious.
Actually, the hardest part of getting ready for this talk was we kept wanting to go to the refrigerator and see what we could get.
And what's the gravy? What's the gravy
Yeah,
for
right.
you of Thanksgiving?
That's right. And that's interesting too, even metaphorically. You serve something that has its own flavor and its own texture and its own value, but it may be a little dry. And then the gravy all by itself is just a liquid, and it doesn't have a whole lot of value. You put the gravy with the meat, and all of a sudden you have gourmet. But when you put two things together that often don't seem to go together, and you share them in a way that is personal, they all fit. They all work.
And interestingly, we love the stuffing.
Yeah.
We love the stuffing, and yet we end up quite stuffed.
Really, yeah.
So I was thinking about how important this is to come together with other people. Most of us don't relish a Thanksgiving dinner home alone. You can order one, you can go to a restaurant and have one, and yet the value is the coming together of friends or your family of origin or the family that you have created.
Along with a
friends.
few odd people that don't always get along. But
Right, they're always odd people. They're always odd people, and I wanted to share something. One of the greatest values is getting together with family if you can. And sometimes you can't, and sometimes it's too challenging. But I read this about how families are really the substance and essence of how we learn to forgive. Because you just don't grow up without stuff that you need to forgive in your family. So I wanted to share this reading, and it says, families are definitely the training ground for forgiveness. At some point, you pardon the people in your family for being stuck together and all their weirdness. And when you can do that, you can learn to pardon anyone, even yourself. Eventually, it's like learning to drive a difficult transmission car. If you can drive that, you can drive anything. So I thought that's so true. That is so true, because we can't grow up in a family without the family hurting us sometime.
Yeah.
And yet you love them and you need them, and you have to forgive them if you're going to get on with your life.
Yeah.
And so it's a great training ground for forgiveness.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't forgive. I don't think any of my 5 brothers or 1 sister ever forgave me for saying I was an only child.
Sometimes they don't. But sometimes people even have trouble getting together for Thanksgiving because of the things they can't forgive. And so this is where our spiritual practices come in, because you will be happier if you can forgive them. The forgiveness is not for them. It's not saying what they did was okay. It was not okay generally. You hope it doesn't ever happen again. And yet, you love and need this family. They love and support you. And so we need to forgive in order to have harmony in our life. And Scott Aubrey, who is a minister who shares some of his wonderful quotes with us, and he says this about families and forgiveness. He says that a bridge's expansion joints are designed to adjust their length to accommodate the movement of the bridge caused by heavy traffic loads, by temperature variations and shrinkage. The expanded joints relieve the stress on the bridge in extreme conditions, helping to prevent damage to the structure. It's a good metaphor for our lives. The expansion joints that can't help us relieve stress on our life, or that can help us, are our spiritual practices: prayer and meditation, gratitude, forgiveness, generosity, laughter, and a sense of purpose, and loving relationships. And that just sounds like Thanksgiving to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Because when you get together, it's not like some of us haven't done stupid things and hurtful things to the other and whatnot. But it's a time to forget all about that,
Yeah.
to just forgive and forget and laugh and celebrate one another and our foibles. And if you don't do that with family, I hope you can do it with friends.
What I find happening very often with people that I work with is that they're broken not by the things that have happened to them, they're broken by the rigidity. And the rigidity, how we hold on to a thing. And I was thinking as you were talking, you said transmission, driving a car with a bad transmission or a difficult transmission, and that took me to driving. If you were driving along the highway and you had to take a detour, and the detour slowed you down, stopped you, put you over a dirt road with rocks and holes and all of that, and then you get back on the main road, it wouldn't really benefit you or anyone else to spend the rest of the day or the rest of the week or the rest of your life talking about the detour. And yet we do. We often bring up all the detours. And remember when you took me down that bad road? It was your fault, and it wasn't. Can we get back on the highway of life? And can we move? No, 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 no. You don't understand. I'm actually stuck on a dirt road. You're on a major highway. And until we can forgive and practice these different things, all of which are ways to take a look at your life with a more positive point of view, from a more positive point of view, and less about who did and who was right and who was wrong. Werner Erhard said a long time ago, and I thought, this can't be true, but it's turned out in my life to be true from everything I've seen. The two most important things to human beings don't seem to be love and joy. It seems to be being right and looking good. And, we will die looking good and being right. So Thanksgiving is a time to give up having to look good and be right, except you do want the table to look good.
Oh, absolutely.
And the food to look, all right, looking good is important. No, but I think those things do us in. It's the rigidity of those things that we hold on to. We think somehow that it makes us safe and it makes us more whole. And in fact, just like the bridge, you break. And we want to have less brokenness and more healing if we can over Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Not only that, but we want it over Thanksgiving as an example of the everyday living that we want to do. So I would say let's have this Thanksgiving Day be a day of awakening ourselves to what we plan and want and need to do every day rather than just for that one meal.
And we will if we think about what we're grateful for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
What are we grateful for today, even about the people that we're joining? And I ask myself while doing this, I generally do the traditional part of Thanksgiving. Since I'm here, I didn't when we were in California in ministry. We usually shared it with folks from our church or even at the church. So it was new for me again to come back here where my son lives and make all the things that he remembers and loved about Thanksgiving. So I make the same recipes that I made then when he was little for the stuffing. He likes the cornbread stuffing, like from the South, and loves the sweet potatoes with the little mushrooms,
Mushrooms.
little
Marshmallows.
marshmallows, not
Yeah,
mushrooms,
we don't do mushrooms, okay? Let's get that clear.
and the pecans and the sweetness of in that the brown sugar. So he loves those traditional things, and so I get a kick out of making it. And it starts early. You make your relish early, and I like to make my own. And you might make pies early. So you're kind of cooking all week long to prepare what you can when you can. So it's not all on Thanksgiving morning.
You bring up a very good point, though, and it's interestingly, Thanksgiving is preparation for good.
Yeah, it's preparation for the feast
Yeah,
and for the fun.
I think of a person I was talking to a while back, and he said, I dated this woman and I just fell in love. And I said, tell me about the first date. He said, well, I paced and I worked and I worried and I went out and went shopping. I wanted to have the right clothes and I thought about what I was going to say and I prepared for it. And then we had the spontaneous date. And the truth is, it was a lot of preparation for this spontaneous event. But what he was telling me was, I began to see the possible value of this. I began to give it value. I began to see myself in something that made a difference.
Yeah,
And so,
and that's exactly what it is. So it's a lot of work, and so I said to him, "Why do I want to work this
yeah,
hard?
exactly.
We could order it from the grocery store and have it delivered."
And complain about how
But,
it wasn't as
it
good as
wouldn't
what
be
you
the
had
same.
picked. Yeah.
It wouldn't be the same, and it would probably cost less, frankly.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be the same, and all of your love goes into
Yeah.
any of that preparation. And if you just show up at the meal and enjoy it, your love goes into that as well. Just the love and the being together.
Whoa.
Whoa, we just went dark here.
We're gonna get light again.
We're going to get light. What happened?
The battery went dead.
Dead? It says we're still talking, so it's getting low. Um, this is spooky. This looks more like Halloween. But what I was about to say is that I listened to an interview of a woman who was a physician who said she really was going through a terrible burnout period. And she stepped back and learned all the different ways that we needed to rest. And she named about six. We needed to have creative rest, we needed to have aloneness rest, we needed to have social rest, and that's time with people. So this Thanksgiving holiday, part of what makes it wonderful is that people go out of their way to show up to be together. And so if we can realize that that's really a form of rest and recreation for us, then we can overlook, all the things that might be annoying or used to be annoying with that person, and just be grateful. So gratitude, excuse me, gratitude for the moment, gratitude for the friends, gratitude for the love for loved ones, gratitude for the health. These days, most people kind of go around the table and say one thing they're grateful for, which I think is a lovely tradition. I was remembering my past Thanksgivings as a child, and we never did that. I think it was like, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub, yay God, let's pile our plates.
That's a good prayer.
It's a good prayer.
Especially when you're really, really hungry. Yeah.
Shall I repeat it?
No, no, no. It wasn't that good.
Wasn't that good?
But thanks for sharing. Yeah.
But I love it when we do that, because it's more than about just stuffing our face and enjoying good food, but enjoying each other and our history with each other,
So I want to go back and
and that we're all still there.
just reconnect to the initial idea, and that is, ask yourself this week how you are preparing for your good, and ask yourself this week what you're putting in your basket. What recipes are you going to pull out that are going to represent your good? I go back and I would even invite you to listen to the song that we played several times on some Sundays, and that is, "What have you done to make yourself feel proud?" And I think Heather
Small.
Small. It's a great go. You can go on YouTube, and I would say go to YouTube a couple times a week and just play that and ask. It's not just the song. It isn't just make yourself feel proud. It's the energy of what it feels like when you move into that space of, I feel good about me, and I feel good about the possibilities for me today, and I feel good about the smallest thing I've done today that's made a difference. And I was with my clients in the treatment center where I work, and I just brought out my pencils. I have 120 colored pencils and some stuff for them to color. And one of the clients said, "Do you have any idea how valuable and how important it is for me to have that many choices in a place where I feel I have no choices?"
Wow.
And I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "You make such a difference." And what was interesting was my assessment of me that day was I was sitting there doing my best to support and encourage people, but I wasn't thinking that I was doing anything in particular. We often don't think we're doing anything in particular when we are doing very particular things that make a real difference. And allow yourself permission to know that and to appreciate that.
Indeed. So, are we
We're
ready
at
to?
10:49, so we need to talk another 10 minutes. Actually, we can have more fun if we want to. Is there anything else you want to say?
We can have more fun if you can think of something.
This is where I usually start singing, which is not a good idea.
Actually, I think we can go right to our
Oh,
music.
I think we can. So what I'm going to do,
Or do we want to do our celebration of
we do want to do our celebration of giving
giving?
first, just so you all know.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Thank
We
you for the giving.
we don't talk about it a lot. Somehow, talking about money always seems to be a difficult thing. Although I'm going to take a minute and do George Carlin. George Carlin says, God is watching you all the time. God has a list of everything you do. God will punish you if you're not good, but God has a lot of trouble with money. He never has enough of it. Every week he has to ask for more of it. And so, but I think there's an edge to that has it feel funny to ask for money for doing what we do. at the same time, there's an expense involved in everything we do, all the equipment we have, and the time we set aside, and the work that we do. It's a ministry that is not free. If you can support us in any way financially, it makes a huge difference. This last year, I think it's really dropped off as far as support, because I think a lot of people have had a lot of other commitments they've had to catch up on. If this is a commitment you can catch up on, or that you can make, that you can support us, please do that. We really appreciate it. And so from there, I'm going to go to share screen.
Right?
And I have to make this smaller though first. How do I make it smaller?
No.
Oh,
See the green?
yeah, sorry. No, that's not it. Oh, no. I know. I can't believe we did so well today.
I don't know what that is.
That's whiteboards.
That's whiteboards. That wouldn't be that. See this?
Yeah.
So we want to.
No. We want to end. Okay, now we can do it. Okay. So now I can go to. Here we go. Share.
Is that the music?
No, this. Oh. Nope. 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 It's the wrong one. This is the one I want to share. That's it. Ah.
So this is our offertory affirmation, and you can do the offertory by going to our website, CSL, Center for Spiritual Living, palmbeaches.org, right here, cslpalmbeaches.org. And if you click on a button at the top that says ways to share, then there are several ways that you can make a donation. So, but we like to say this affirmation because we remind ourselves that it's the law of circulation. As we give, we do receive. So our giving is an investment in our own prosperity, because we have to circulate in order to receive. So let's say together, my investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me, enriched and multiplied. And so it is.
Okay, so we go from that. I can take that off altogether. And nope, not yet. So I want to. Where are we?
Well, we have lost our Zoom.
No, we're back. Oh God.
Let's see.
Stop share. There we go. Whew. And we're going to stop recording.